Early Friday morning, NBA and Knicks insider Ian Bagley posted an article where he got to talk with JJ Redick and get his thoughts on Quentin Grimes. And we also get an update about Julius Randle and his offensive struggles. All that and much more on the Knicks Digest. What's up, guys? It's your boy Dariel from Knicks Digest. And on today's video, we have a couple different topics. But for the first topic, and we're going to get right into it, we're going to be talking about JJ Redick on Quentin Grimes. So, like I said a little bit earlier, NBA and Knicks insider Ian Bagley posted an article early Friday morning where he got to chop it up with JJ Redick and he got to talk to JJ Redick about Quentin Grimes. So, before I get into the article and we get into some quotes, the one thing I took away from the article was that it was nothing but praise. Nothing but praise for Quentin Grimes. JJ Redick said nothing but positive things. And if you're a Knicks fan, you should be taking nothing away but just positive vibes. When you have a generational shooter like JJ Redick giving Quentin Grimes nothing but praise regarding his mentality, regarding his work ethic. There's nowhere to go but up for Quentin Grimes. But just like Chris and I said in one of our previous videos, Chris made a point where he feels like Coach Tibbs isn't giving Quentin Grimes the right opportunity to show what he was able to work on during the offseason. During the offseason, Quentin Grimes actually got with JJ Redick, and I think they were together for a couple of days or maybe about a week. And JJ Redick just went through some workouts and just to get Quentin Grimes and just to try and grow his all-around game instead of just being a spot-up shooter. He helped Quentin Grimes to work on his off-the-dribble game, maybe a little post-up game. But getting into the article itself, JJ Redick here says, really like him. He's got a great spirit, really outstanding work ethic. I think about a lot of young players that have been around, especially towards the second half of my career, and I tell people this all the time. You go into training camp, you go into preseason, you meet a rookie, you meet a second-year guy that's coming in looking for his place in the league. It's very easy to figure out after 2 or 3 days what this person's future looks like. Quentin has a very bright future in the NBA. And like I said a little bit earlier, whenever you have a player looking to try and get better, looking to grow his game, that just speaks volumes. Whenever you have a player, especially if he made it to the NBA, because a lot of people say that once you make it to the NBA, that's only the first step. The second step is now actually staying in the league. And Quentin Grimes, it seems like he's not happy with just making it to the league. He actually wants to stand out from the rest. He actually wants to make a name for himself. And when he's actively looking towards people that played his position to try and get some advice, try to get some tips as to how he can grow his game, that's nothing but great news for Knicks fans. The article goes on, and JJ Redick goes on to say, I really enjoy spending time with Quentin. He asks the right questions, he wants to get better, all the good stuff you look for in a young player. And obviously, he's got a lot of talent and a great physical makeup, and truthfully, a great mental makeup. Chris and I, we did a previous video where we talked about how the Knicks looked throughout the first 5 games of the season, and things are looking a little grim. But one of Chris's points was talking about Coach Tibbs and just the offensive opportunities that he's given players, and Chris pointed how Quentin Grimes, it feels like Quentin Grimes is not really given the opportunity. But sometimes as a player, you got to take the opportunity instead of waiting for your number to be called. So I feel like moving forward, now that Quentin Grimes has done all this work, especially in the offseason, now that Quentin Grimes has gotten some tidbits, some advice from great players like JJ Redick, he should be able to start implementing those into the game, even if his number is not called. He needs to take charge of an opportunity whenever it's there. If the play is not called for him and the ball gets rotated to him from Brunson or RJ Barrett, he needs to take his opportunity and attack the hole and show what he's got. And I like Quentin Grimes. Ever since he came onto the scene, he was definitely a player that stood out from the rest. Being the starting 2 on the team and being in the starting 5, I like his height, I like his size, I like his athletic ability, I like him being able to shoot the ball, and he has a really quick release, which is definitely a positive. And we also got to highlight how he's the main defensive player that the Knicks call on whenever they're facing one of the prominent offensive players on the other team. So Quentin Grimes, it looks like he has all the tools, especially to have a breakout season this year. Last season, he had great experience, especially going to the second round of the playoffs where they lost to Miami in 6. So he has a lot of experience under his belt, but he needs to use that experience going forward into this season. Moving on to the second topic of today's video, we're going to be talking about Julius Randle's solution to shooting struggles. Now, this article was published on Thursday, so a day before Julius Randle and the Knicks went into Milwaukee and played the first in-season game tournament. And in that game, Julius Randle had an abysmal outing. In that game, Julius Randle finished with 16 points, just shooting 1 of 9 from three-point range. And as far as field goals, he finished with shooting 5 of 20 from the field. So very inefficient. As far as one of our cornerstones in the franchise, he had such an abysmal outing, and he's one of the players that the Knicks are depending on to move this franchise forward. But in the article published by Jeremy Brenner, Julius Randle tells us that he has a solution to his shooting struggles. So if we take a look into the article here, Julius Randle, it'll fall eventually. It's a long season. I trust the work that I've put in on a day-to-day basis, so there's no point in me being frustrated. So it's not exactly a solution that Julius Randle is telling us, but one thing that Knicks fans we should take note of. So Julius Randle ended up getting surgery on his ankle 3 weeks after they lost in Game 6 to the Miami Heat in the second round of the Eastern Conference playoffs. And of course, after surgery, everybody has to go through a rehab process. Now, for basketball players, the summertime is the perfect opportunity, and it's the only opportunity where you have to take time and actually develop different parts of your game. You can either take time to enhance a specific part of your game, or you can take time to add an additional skill to all the skills that you already have. So unfortunately, Julius Randle had arthroscopic surgery on his ankle. So this summer, he wasn't able to go into the gym and he wasn't able to actually work on his game. What he had to do first, he had to take the time out in order to rehab that ankle. He had to get that ankle back to normal strength, to normal flexibility, to normal moving around. So that took time out of Julius Randle's summer in order to train for the upcoming season. And now when we think about it like that, it does kind of make sense as to why Julius Randle is having such a horrible offensive start to the season. But of course, we're not here to make any excuses. You're on the floor, and every player says, if I'm healthy and if I'm able to go on the floor, then there should be no excuse. So we gotta keep that same energy towards Julius Randle. He's the one that's telling the coaches, he's the one that's telling the medical staff that he's able to play. He's putting himself on the floor. So if you're on the floor, you need to produce. And unfortunately, as of today, Julius Randle has not done that to start off the season. And if we go back into the article, Julius Randle also says, I think it's just a rhythm thing. We're not getting anything easy. I feel like we're just working hard for everything right now. That quote from Julius Randle proves my point in a video that Chris and I made a couple days ago. In that video, I was telling Chris that the offense just looks like it's going through such a struggle, and it looks like the Knicks are having such an incredibly hard time putting the ball in the hoop. Jalen Brunson has not started off well in this season. As we're talking about right now, Julius Randle has not started off well in this season. The only two players, in my opinion, and Chris was talking about this in one of the other videos as well, the only two players that looks like the Knicks are having a really good bright spot to start off the season, Immanuel Quickley and Mitchell Robinson. Immanuel Quickley playing in the games, it looks like he's one of the only players that's able to create for himself. Jalen Brunson obviously is one of the leaders, if not the leader on the team. We depend on him a lot to create plays for others, but also looking to get his. But Immanuel Quickley is not too far behind. Immanuel Quickley can create for his own. One thing that I've been seeing from Immanuel Quickley that I like is he's taking the ball off the dribble and he's creating plays for others. But if Julius Randle is going to continue to have a poor start to the NBA season, then other players are going to have to step up. So what I want to do now is I want to actually give Julius Randle some praise, because in most of the videos that I've been publishing, I've been giving Julius Randle a hard time. So one of the things that I have been seeing from Julius Randle is whenever the game starts and it looks like he's not having a good rhythm, he's not in his rhythm, or he's not being offensively aggressive, it does look like Julius Randle is trying to affect the game in other ways. And one of the ways that Julius Randle is trying to affect the game is rebounding. Even though we want Julius Randle to be offensively aggressive and look for his, we do want him to try and affect the game in other ways whenever the ball is not going in the rim for him. And to me, it looks like Julius Randle is really trying to affect the game as far as rebounding. He's using his bully ways and his brute force in order to get rebounds and help out the team, which is definitely a plus and something I have not seen from Julius Randle in the past. That'll be all for me, guys. I want to say thank you for checking out this video, and we'll check you guys out on the next one. Peace.